Welcome back, everybody. It's Rama from Junk Journal Divas. Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining me today. I am finally working on my Tattered Bee Journal. I've been talking about it forever. Finally working on it. So I'm going to show you my little journal, what I have so far. I have a lot of stuff going on in the video, so I decided to split this into two parts. So in this video, part one, I am going to show you, first of all, I'm going to show you how I distressed these papers using Tim Holtz products on embossed papers. So I used the mini inks. I like the mini ink pads because it's a smaller surface area and it's flat. So when you rub over the, the embossed papers, you just get those raised portions. So on this one, I did the ink. I'm going to show you in the video. I did the ink and then I used my embossing ink dauber and I used the squeezed lemonade on this. So if you can see that shimmer, and it feels really cool. You know, it's waxy. Okay, so I've got this one. And then this one I was playing around with. I don't know how well it will show up in the camera, but I was just playing around with a bunch of stuff. And at the very end, I used some antique linen, the Distress Spritz. And so it's got this shimmer on it. And then where those darker parts are, that is the lunar paste. So I just was playing around a little bit with these, so I'm going to show that briefly. And also, if you need any of these products, I get these all from YANETTE, and I've got all of her information in the video description for all Ranger products. So Tim Holtz stuff and anything that's Ranger. Okay, so I show these first, and then I'm going to go through how I constructed the cover and just covered it with fabric. And then all of these are pieces from my embellishment packages. And of course, the bumblebee that I had to put on here. So I'm going to show that. And then, so on the inside, you can see here, I made a pocket out of another piece of that paper that I did. And I did sew around the outside here. Pocket in the back here. So I'm going to show how I covered it with the fabric. This fabric is also from YANETTE, by the way. And then for my pages, because this is supposed to be, it's kind of a chunky journal, lots of layers of lace and things like that. So I didn't do very much with the pages here, but they are envelopes. So I've got one, and you can see here, I did put a little bit of a spine here so that I can give myself room for some bulk for these two pages. And then I've got here, so these will be my pages. Now the only thing that I did so far that I show in the video is this page, and I just used a soda tab, and this will be a flip out with some journal space here. So that's all I've done so far. Put that back there. So that's all so far for this video. In part two, I'm going to show the rest of the pages. We'll see what I end up doing for the rest of the pages here. And again, I'm going to start with this, and then we will go into constructing the cover, decorating the front cover, and then page one of the journal. I am also putting timestamps, so if you want to skip to a certain section or if you want to revisit it, you can do that with the timestamps. So let's get started. Now I have a couple of other videos where I am playing with embossed papers, so I will link those in the video description along with YANETTE's information, my Etsy shop. So all the links, everything's always in my video description. So I'm just kind of going through this quickly and showing, because I love this part. Once you put on that embossed, the embossing glaze and heat it up, it's like magic. This is one of my favorite mediums. So you can see here I'm heating it up, and when it starts to melt, it's like magic. So again, I'm just kind of going through this really fast just to kind of show you the magic part. And then we're going to go into constructing the cover. So here you can see the final results. And this one I'm just kind of adding a little bit more color, and then this is the spritz that I just kind of go over top of it. And then while those are kind of just sitting, drying for a little bit, I'm just using a cereal box here. So this journal is going to be 4.5 by 7, and I'm giving myself like 3/4 of an inch for the spine. Now I could have left that extra little flap for a pocket, but I just cut it off. And then now, this is easy. I'm just going to cover the outside. So I'm just gluing one side of it, and I'm going to lay it down on my little piece of fabric here. And I'm just using my Art Glitter brand glue. I do have my fabric glue, but honestly, I just had it here and just using it because it's here. And then I'll just go ahead and cut those corners off. And I'm just using the same glue to go around those edges. Now this side I didn't have a lot of fabric, but it worked. It ended up being okay. I was a little nervous about it, but it worked out, so we're all good. And I kind of prefer, once I put my glue down, you'll see I kind of lift it up and roll over the cover. So that's kind of the way that I prefer to do that. And then I'm just going to cut out some little notches, little triangles, where the spine is, so that you can allow for room for it to close and you don't have your fabric bunching up there. And then I'm just doing the same thing, gluing down the other sides. Now, if this was a heavier fabric, I probably would use a different glue. I have my fabric glue, or maybe I would use my 3-in-1 glue, which is what I use when I put all the little pieces on the cover. But because this is really thin, I'm not really worried about it, and it sticks really well. Art Glitter glue is definitely my go-to. And now I have this really thick, well, I don't know if it's thick, but very strong piece of fabric, and I'm going to put a little strip of this on the spine, and that will just give me some extra stability. So now I'm using my 3-in-1 glue, and I think this is pretty much what I use for the rest of the video. So I've got that down, and then I want to cover those inside panels. So this is, I think this is called Dirty Old Lace, I believe. All of the papers that I'm going to be using for this journal are also in the video description. They're from House Whimsy, of course. So I'm just cutting these to size for those inside covers. Then, of course, ink up those edges before I glue it down. Sometimes I forget to do it, and it looks so much better with those edges inked. And then when I'm gluing things down. Like you can see here, I'm lining it up first and then just kind of lifting up one side, and I'll glue one side down and then lift the other side. And I think this is so much easier than putting glue on your entire page and then trying to line it up. I just never seem to get it straight. So that's what I prefer to do. If you're like me and you just can't get things straight when the glue's on, try doing it this way. So go ahead and put this one down, then I have the other side, and I'm going to do that the same way. And for my pocket, I'm just going to cut one of these embossed papers in half, and I can use a half for, these will be my pockets. And again, you can see here I have it lined up first because I want it to be exactly to the edge of the paper, and then I'm gluing it down. Okay guys, I am back and working on my cover. So I have a bunch of pieces from my embellishment packs that I have in my shop, and I just want to show you how easy it is to do a beautiful cover using these pieces. My sari packs always go really quickly, but these for some reason do not, and I'm not sure why. Maybe people need to see them being used. But usually if you buy these, you know, these 3D appliques, they are very pricey. And in my packs, you get all kinds of, you know, laces and just these little pieces of things. And oh my goodness, it just makes a cover so easy to do, honestly, because they're just so beautiful. So anyway, I grabbed some pieces here, and I haven't decided yet, but I thought, let me just turn on my camera and go through the process. Now I did decide that I want to stick with, you know, cream, shades of tan and brown. I did grab some of this stuff, kind of golds and silvers, and some blacks, but I kind of decided against that, so I'm going to put these aside. But just some of the pieces, now this I know is in a bunch of the packs. I kept this one because it's missing the bottom part on one side. So the ones that are in my packs are a full flower, but this whole thing is beaded. And then underneath you've got sequins. I mean, they're beautiful. And then of course this one that I just showed is all sequins. Now I'm thinking that I want to stay away from the yellow, so I'm just going to put that back there. But first I will show you, I just grabbed this doily and put around the outside here. And then I thought I could do some layers with this brown lace. And I just kind of tore this to make it, you know, kind of rough on the edges. And this stuff, this meshy stuff, I thought if I kind of tear it to make it a little bit irregular, and it could just kind of go underneath here somehow. So this is what I have so far, I'm thinking. And let me clip this down just so, there we go. Okay, so, and just to show you some of the other pieces, like look at this one with the beads on. I mean, just look at that. And I have this lace also has the beaded flowers on. I mean, everything, it just makes everything so easy when you're working with these beautiful pieces. Got these flowers. Now these are the pieces that are, you know, that I'm talking about, that are in the kit. So this is all beaded the whole way around all of these, and then beads here. You've got sequins. I think maybe sometimes it's hard to see all of the details on it. Now these are in the gold pack, And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this up. So I'm just going to take out little sections and cut out the mesh that's going around it, because I think this would look really pretty on there. And then maybe, oh geez, I don't know. I've got a lot of flowers. I have a white one, a little white one here. And then I've got these flowers. So I'm going to put those kind of aside. I also have some green that I could add underneath here. So like, let's see. Again, these are in my packages, the green pack. I don't need all of this. I could just cut a little piece off. I think I like this. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is glue this stuff down. Because I know I want these two pieces. So let's do that first. So you can see here I moved on to my, it's Beacon is the name, the brand of the glue. It's a 3-in-1 glue. And I like it because there's not a smell. So, you know, Fabri-Tac, I just can't handle the smell of Fabri-Tac. And also the tip of it is very narrow, so it's not like a big glob coming out at once. So here you can see when I'm putting this lace down, I'm just kind of putting glue on the areas where it's like solid, you know, because it's mesh netting in between. And I didn't want to just put glue down and then put it on top of the glue. I didn't want that glue to kind of ooze through the netting. So I've got this part done. And now I'm just going to chop up a bunch of my embellishment pieces. And this is one of the things that I'm always saying, and even with my sari packages, do not be afraid to chop it up, because honestly, you just need tiny little pieces of this stuff most of the time. So you can see this large piece that I'm cutting up right now. I cut it into really, really small pieces and just kind of played around with it. And I'm leaving a lot of this part of the video in because I played around with so many different pieces. Oh my goodness. And I think that this is really interesting to see the process for other people, and it's just kind of useful. It's always good to see what other people do and to know that it does take a while for everybody, right? So yeah, I'm just kind of auditioning all these pieces. I did decide I like the white underneath because it really makes everything pop. So I cut this piece of lace and I was going to use it. It looked pretty, I liked it and everything, but then I ended up spotting this other piece and decided to use it instead. So once again, taking everything off, and I just decided to use this one. I like this a lot, covers more area. So I cut little pieces off of this. I cut it in half, basically. And now the same thing, when I'm gluing this on, I'm just going, you know, where the outline is there. And then I can glue this one down, and I just think that this looks a lot better with the white. So then I'm just going to start layering up a whole bunch of pieces. Like once I have those bottom layers done, then it's just a matter of taking little tiny pieces and adding a whole bunch of additions there. So I'm going to play music just for a few minutes here while I'm doing the cover, and then we'll meet back up for when I do my first page inside the journal. Okay, guys, so now I'm moving on to my first page in the journal, and I'm just taking this printable, and I'm looking, I think this is from House Whimsy. I'm getting everything confused. I printed so much stuff, but I'm just cutting this down to size, and this is going to be my flip page. So this page, again, I'm lining up my paper and then lifting up one side, gluing it down, just like I did with my fabric. I just think this is so much easier than putting the glue down on the whole thing and then trying to line it up when you put it down. It never works for me. So I'm going to do this, and then the other side, I'm going to attach to the flap of the envelope, and I'll fold it because it's going to be a little bit longer. And then that will be my flip page. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this in half, but I am leaving a little bit of space, if you can see, at the edge there, because I want to make sure that it folds okay. So it's not exactly in half. And then to cover the inside, I'm going to use this fabulous paper that I just got from my diva sister, Kim Evans. And if you're on Facebook, she is selling this paper. I have not had time to dye paper, so I said, this is great, I'll just buy it from you. So rather than covering the whole entire back side, I cut 2 little panels that I'm going to glue down. And I did that because sometimes if you've tried to just cover the whole sheet, sometimes when you go to fold it, then the paper will kind of buckle, and yeah, so just to prevent that from happening, I just did the 2 panels. And now I'm going to do, I think I saw this first from Julie J, who is one of my diva sisters, is using the soda can tab to make a little closure. So I took this little tiny scrap that I have left over from my embossed paper, and I'm going to use my 3-in-1 glue and just kind of go over the top here, and then we can cover it. Then I just wanted to add a little bit of lace going down that one edge, so I'm just going to glue this little piece on there. So this makes it nice and easy. So then I'm going to go back to my soda can tab, and the problem that I had with it is that when I went to close it on the right side, because the paper's folded, it is too thick. So I needed to raise up the other side a little bit. So I had this idea to use a bunch of these, the circle protectors or whatever they're called. So I punched about a bunch of them out. And so I'm going to, and this is working well. So I'm going to glue these down. So it raised it up, you know, a little bit. So I'll glue this down, and then I am going to add 1 circle just to the back of my tab, and that's just so it slides easily. I didn't want it to get caught on anything. And then I can poke my hole and get a brad, and I will attach it with a brad. Now on the back side, I didn't want the hole to go through both of those parts, so I decided to tear the envelope kind of apart. I might want to do something like an extra little fold out page, or I don't know. So this works great. And then just add a little bit of extra stability on the back. I'm gluing down this piece of tape to go over where I have that brad. And this is good. I'm happy with it. So now I'm going to just add glue to the spine. I'm going to glue it down into my journal, and then I'm running this right through my sewing machine. So I'm not doing the, 3-hole pamphlet stitch or anything. I'm just going to go right up the spine with my sewing machine because this is actually before I did the cover, so it will be covered up. So this is everything for part 1, and for part 2, I'm going to work on the rest of the pages. That is the fun part, I think. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming up soon, and thank you for joining me.